It is OKN Junior qualifying heat 2. 9 laps, 11-kilometer race distance ahead of the drivers here. These drivers will have a lot of work ahead of them there. As you can see, Toby Gale putting on his gloves. Looks like he is blister-free for the time being. So many drivers struggling out there with. And that time, of course, is the start time for the next race. OKN Junior heading out onto the track in a few moments' time. Toby Gale starting today well then. He started yesterday well also. Pole in time qualifying, took a qualifying heat win in that one. He then struck out in qualifying heat 2, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on because the engines are fire up. Let's take you through that full starting lineup. It's Toby Gale and Connor Clancy on row number 1. Oscar Gallen and Leonidas Peruzzi go from row number 2. Maxim Bobrozov and James Anagnostiidis go from row number 3. They'll have Kasper Reipold and Xavier Dudkowski on row number 4. Matis Vitva and William Marshall go from row 5. They'll have Mitansh Jain and Veer Chopra on row 6. Nicholas Stanley and Ella Hakkinen will round out row number 7. Didier Klieft and Angelina Simmons start on row 8. Victoria Farfus and Dinia Islamov go from row 9. Axel Nocom and Vanessa Shilkanate round out the top 20 on row 10. Zachara Dole and Flavio Carrio go from row 11. They'll have Egon Prodotti and Amelia Veshamierska on row 12. They'll have Sanjana Dandu and Vida Yuland on row 13. Sujana Dandu and Marcel Cabello round out row number 14. And the final row of the grid will be Ayan Singh and Kareem Kaur. Row 16 is not out on track. Ada Pizzuto and Isaac Say not racing at this point of the weekend. A fair few drivers very late from leaving the dummy grid there. You saw, I think, one driver stalling, and because it's quite narrow on the exit there, if you can't get another cut past, then it causes a concertina effect, and as soon as one cut stalls and blocks the way, every other cut that tries to close in behind also stalls, and you get a little bit of drama there. So hopefully everyone's got away well, and for one driver who hasn't got away well is Matthias Vitva. And he is stuck in the Parc Ferme area there, so that's not the pre-grid. Looks like he's gone out on track and come back in now, so that's very interesting because he did go out on track, and there you can see, I don't think we'll be going for a formation lap on this time around, as there across the line is Sanjana Dandu, who's only just crossing the start-finish line now, while the front runners are coming into the final corner now to start their race. The field is massively, massively spread out right now. And that is all down to clearly one kart just stalling out of the pre-grid there. So this is not going to be an easy one to get started with. There's the rest of the field. They're going across the line now. Yes, it is a false start. What they need to do now is, well, I know they want to try and keep temperature in the tyres. I know they want to keep the speed up. They really do need to try and slow it down sooner rather than later here, because they might get another go around if the back of the field is just not formed up in time. And again, there's still a smattering of drivers that are still crossing over the start-finish line now. Some fair few corners behind from the rest of the field here, as you can see the false start flags out in force on circuit. So it looks like Matthias Vitva has not gone out on track, so maybe Gremlin, yeah, there he is. He's still there in Parc Ferme, as I call it. And there you can see some of our technical crew there. Darren Clark and Patricia there as well, working hard, keeping an eye on everything that happens technical-wise in Parc Ferme. Making sure that anything that happens to his kart is legal. Matthias Vitva, what has been the cause of this? Is it a spark plug that they're changing there? It's a common thing to change very quickly on these karts, but clearly something is amiss on his wagon. He's not going to get the green flag at the start of this one, as the rest of the field looks like they're lined up ready to go here for a race start. We've got the majority of the grid there now. It looks good. Are we going green then? And could it be Toby Gale getting a double win this weekend in the qualifying heats? We're green and racing down in towards turn number 1. It's again a good start for Gale. Does he run out wide? Does he open up the door for an attack down the inside at turn number 3? The answer to that is no, but there's a rotation in the top section, and there's cuts everywhere over the bridge, and multiple drivers are out of this race, not including Maxim Bobrozov, but as well the 33 is out of this race. That's Zachariah Dole. You've got Bobrozov, you've got Xavier Dukovsky's there as well. Veer Chopra's involved, Axel Nocom, Zachariah Dole, as we called it out, Sujana Dandu is involved, and Karine Kaur is also involved. Slow procedure has come out. The race has been neutralized, and hopefully the front runners do see that sooner rather than later. Yep, hands gone up in the air, and Toby Gale now gets the message that the race has been neutralized and slows the field down through the final chicane as the, well, pack of drivers now that have accumulated at turn number 3 in the second half of their qualifying heats phase. That is an almighty amount of drivers that we have lost on this opening lap. And I'm not sure how that unfolded there. There was one driver, I think, who just got lifted up at the back, and there you can still see some carts stricken in the middle of the circuit. So drivers having to avoid that. But, well, 30 carts that started this. We're down to just 22 runners now in this race. Bobrozov is out, Dukovsky is out, Mateusz Witwer is out, Chopra, Nocom, Delay, Sujana Dandu, Karine Kaur, all out of this race, and of course the 2 non-starters, Pazzuto and Isaac Say. So down to just 22 runners in this race as slow procedure is out. Now, Toby Gale needs to be careful here because this was the exact same situation he was in yesterday. Slow procedure coming out. The race had restarted, but he bolted too soon. He hit that accelerator pedal. That penalty came out, and he finished 9th in that second race. So how did this unfold? A spin there. Right, okay, so Bobrozov caught the rear bumper there of the 41 of Xavier Dukovsky. That was the first initial spin. And then I think it was just from there, a concertina effect. Everyone else just closed in behind and blink before you realised half the grid is out of this race. So down to just 22 runners now, as we're still under slow procedure here at the Dubai Kartdrome. On to lap number 3 we go of this race. The timer still does keep going down, so every lap we are under the yellow procedure. The lap count does keep going. This is Mateusz Witwer at the start of this race before the race even got away. You can see mechanic saying, I need something, and, well, not getting to start that race, but he was around that area where he could have been involved in that incident because he was right next to the likes of Maxim Bobrozov and Xavier Dukovsky. So Witwer may have just avoided getting any damage to his kart and losing out anything in that race. So there's a silver lining. Could probably take that, but like you say, still out of this race. So on to lap number 4 then of 9. Still under slow procedure. There you can see the huge car park, or kart park as I should call it. There are the exits and the large pack of drivers just watching from the sidelines there. But while we wait for that green flag to come out, there's a look at some of the previous race winners here from the last 6 races, the finals that we've had. Kasper Reipold, Ella Hakkinen winning in Cremona, and Ignatiadis and Gale winning in Valencia. Then it was Mateusz Witwer, who've just seen, of course, retiring from this one, who won there. And then Maxim Bobrozov taking the win yesterday in the juniors as he stepped up from the mini category and starting it very strongly. Today, though, has not gone his way. Of course, out in this qualifying heat. So flag still waving. Makes me feel like we are going around once more. We're not green and racing just yet. No, it's another lap under the full course yellow. So Marshall's needing a little bit of longer time here to get the track cleared and safe to go racing. So we go on to lap 5 now of 9. This is going to be an almighty sprint to the end then for the field. And again, Toby Gale needs to be careful. He got caught out with a 5-second time penalty for effectively kind of jumping the restart effectively yesterday, which dropped him down to 9th place. He's in the same situation now. He's got to wait a little bit later down the start-finish straight to go for it. but he started accelerating a little bit too soon yesterday. So hopefully he's learnt his lesson from that. He doesn't want to get caught out with that penalty. And catching up with him this morning after time qualifying, he did say he learnt his lesson from that, and he made sure that he didn't do it again. So hopefully this time all good. Right, now are those flags now static? I think they are. So temperature now getting put back into these tyres. Looks like we could be going green and racing at the end of this lap. I'll confirm that when I next see a yellow flag. And yes, I can see it is stationary there. He's holding it at the bottom. So it looks like we're ready to go racing then. Wait for it this time, Toby. You got the penalty yesterday. Don't get it today as we go. Green flag and racing. We are underway once more. And Gale holds off the field. Clancy there in second place, but they're all bunched up. It's like we've not even started the race just yet, but we've already lost 10 karts from this race. In through turn number 3. This is where it all unfolded earlier on in the race, but this time around, everyone gets through cleanly, and it's still Gale who leads the way. There you can see Leonidas Peruzzi is getting caught out by the pack behind as the two in front start a breakaway here. Gale and Clancy, 1-2, have broken away as they go for this 4-lap sprint. Gale's going to go defensive earlier on here in towards turn number 9. He's not going to wait around and wait for Clancy to just send it instantly down the inside. So that will bring back the likes of Oscar Gallen, who's still there in third place. Anagnosiadis is there in fourth. Peruzzi's there in P5 from Marshall, Jane, then it's Stanley, Simmons from Sig, and there is the move down the inside. Clancy sends it through at turn number 14 and takes the lead of this race, going on to lap 7 now of it. But Gale's not going to give this one up. Like I say, he got caught out yesterday. He does not want to get caught out today in this second qualifying heat. He will fight to the end, as Mitesh Jain is seeing an investigation flag. The same flag is going out to another in the 57 as well. So Mitesh Jain seeing that. And the 53 also under investigation. That is Nicholas Stanley, so possibly for the restart, or maybe even for track limits. Didier Kreeft, you saw there very briefly, another name cropping up on the list, as well as another one, 56, also seeing a warning, an investigation flag. So, well, multiple drivers being watched at then in this second half of the race. But we keep an eye on this lead here, and Clancy now looking like he's got this one in control. He lost out on pole position this morning because of track limits. So again, he can push hard in this one. He needs to be careful. There is Leonidas Peruzzi pushing his way through as, oh dear me, Nicholas Stanley under pressure from Mitesh Jain just behind, trying to close in. So again, drivers pushing their way forward in this early stages. Biggest mover, Ardian Singh again. We called it out earlier on, the driver from South Africa, now up 21 places in this race for Ardian Singh. Currently running in P8 behind Oscar Gallen. So Gallen having a very strong performance in this one, as we are on lap 8 at the moment. Last lap board will be out this time. Well, let's see what happens here as across the line they go. Clancy leads the way from Gale in second place as we go on to the last lap of this race. And Anagnosiadis still there in third place, is trying to close in, but I think he's going to have to settle for P3 here unless he gets caught by any drama behind from Leonidas Peruzzi, who's there in P4. Marshall still there in P5 from Stanley. Oscar Gallen in 7th. Raipal just behind. Ardian Singh back to 9th place, but he's still up 20 places. So no drama there as we look at some of the stats there between these two drivers. One up, one down for both of them. Clancy up from 2nd. Gale down from 1st at the end of this one, but this is still good for Toby Gale and for Conor Clancy because, well, with Gale effectively out-qualifying Conor Clancy, the two of them would be joint on intermediate classification points at the end of that one. But because he out-qualified him, he will take that pole position. Out of the final corner then they go, and it will be Conor Clancy taking his first win across the line, seeing the checker flag. Toby Gale finishing in 2nd place ahead of James Anagnosiadis in 3rd. He managed to hold on to that P3 ahead of Leonidas Peruzzi. Marshall finishing in P5 ahead of Nicholas Stanley. Nicholas Stanley, though, under investigation, as well as 3 other drivers also under investigation. the end of that race. So they do need to be careful. Gallon finishing in 7th place ahead of Reipold. Idiot Creep, Ernie and Singh rounding out the top 10. 19 positions gained at the end of that race, but still a very, very strong performance for the driver from South Africa, who's looking to start a little bit higher up in that race later on today. The junior final will be the next race coming out today. That'll be kick-starting at 3 o'clock local time. There, though, the results, we've gone over the top 10. Mitash Jain finishing in 11th place from Angelina Simmons, Vanessa Shilkanek from Ella Hakkinen, and Egon Pedrotti rounding out the top 15. Dinia Islamov from Victoria Farfus, Sanjana Dandu from Marcelo Capella, Amelia Venturesca, Flavio Caria, and Vera Jurland rounding out the 22 finishers in that race.